Chief Meteorologist Rob Perillo.
Welcome back. Well, another stinking hot day across Acadiana. Temperatures in the mid-90s this weekend. Heat indices 105 to 110, and today was no different. So let's take a look at the big pictures. We look at the water vapor imagery, and we'll have that coming up. Oh, at the Palace Cafe. Gotta love these drone shots here coming up through the trees. Beautiful weather across the region. Some fair weather cumulus clouds. Those blue skies not quite as blue as we've had a lot of dust in the area. So they look bluer in this shot than they actually are out there. We've had a lot of haze across the area. So nice day out there. If you didn't mind the heat, I kind of mentioned on social media, well, a shower would be nice to cool us off. And everybody said, bite your tongue, Rob. We don't want any rain. So, okay. Point taken. But this is what's dominating right now. High pressure over the Oklahoma-Texas panhandle. We got a weak upper level low here in the western Gulf of Mexico, but most of the moisture and instability with that is staying away from us. But we do have this frontal trough, kind of the periphery of a ridge of high pressure that has had active storms from the mid-Atlantic on down through Louisiana. And we kind of zoom on in, and there have been some pretty strong and active storms over eastern Louisiana. Look at all this cloud-to-ground lightning showing up from southwestern Mississippi into the Feliciana parishes and points to the east. And then we get down into St. Mary Parish. We got some pretty strong storms ongoing right now in Acadiana, but most of us not seeing a whole lot other than some shower activity in Lafayette. Most of the action in St. Mary Parish has pretty much moved into the marsh for the most part, but there's some heavy storms and the possibility of some small hail, gusty winds with this cell here. A couple of other isolated cells back to the west as we get into Lafayette Parish, coastal St. Martin Parish, mostly in the marsh, but near Pecan Island, then over toward the Rockefeller Refuge area, and then another shower by the Grand Chenier area. And then we move into Lafayette, and pay attention to this. You see the shower activity from the southwest side of town down through Maury, some locally heavy downpours. Now, I don't know what's going to happen when I hit this next button, but it should be Power Doppler 3. Yes, there it is. And really a highlight of how much higher resolution this radar is. We're still in the fine-tuning stage, but the radar in Lafayette fills the hole. And notice the details on the storm down here in Maurice versus this is the National Weather Service. And then you have Power Doppler HD, so we can really see where it's raining and where it's not, which is just as important. A heavy downpour here in rain, and then we do have shower activity. Zooming in on this stuff makes it even that much more fun. We have a shower right on Congress here between Gilbo and then over toward the Cajun Dome and just south of the KATC dome. I'm going to have to get a new 3D image to make that dome look a little bit better. But Power Doppler 3 online, and we're fine-tuning it. Should be ready for prime time in the next week or so, so stay tuned for that. The tropical moisture across the area, you can see the showers and storms popping up during the course of this afternoon. That disturbance that's by Jacksonville off the coast of Florida and Georgia, not expected to develop, no longer expected. A chance of development now down to about 20%. And the good news, the rest of the Atlantic Basin looking nice and quiet. Should stay that way for another week, maybe two, and then we're going to start to get into primetime hurricane season. So we'll see how that plays out. So the HRRR model still indicating the risk of storms across portions of Acadiana through early this evening. Then activity quiets down. It's going to be warm and humid. Temperatures bottom out probably in the upper 70s. We were 80 this morning. That's quite uncomfortable. And then scattered storms tomorrow. I think a slightly better chance of showers and storms. But again, model trends have been showing less and more of the action over toward the Texas-Louisiana border. Nonetheless, I'm going to go with a 30 to 40% chance of getting wet. The Weather Service is at 50%, so we'll see how it plays out. Now, mind you, a lot of the Saharan dust, haze, and a little bit of the smoke from the wildfires in the west have been mitigating thunderstorm activity. We saw that Saturday, Sunday, and much of the day today, but we do have some storms poking on through. Going into Wednesday, it looks like slightly drier air coming in, so rain chances will be a little bit lower, I think, for Wednesday. Here are the heat indices for tomorrow afternoon. Maybe not quite as high as today, but anywhere between 103 to 106 is probably a pretty good call, if not a little bit hotter, and then much the same, but maybe not as much in the way of heat indices, depending on shower thunderstorm thunderstorm activity and whether we see our dew points coming down just a little bit. So the risk of an early evening shower or thunderstorm, otherwise it's sultry out there under fair skies. 78 the low, your rain chance at about 20%, give or take or so. And then tomorrow, hot and humid, scattered afternoon, early evening showers or storms. That heat index near 103 to 108 will be at 2 degrees a little bit cooler at 93 for our high tomorrow, but back into the mid-90s for sure on Wednesday. And as we finish out the week, typical summer weather, and the way it's working out, it looks like this weekend should be drier and albeit hotter with temperatures in the mid-90s. Not much change until we get to the latter part of this 10-day forecast, where we'll see rain chances perking up perhaps the middle part of next week.